Hey, Marlon here from marlonmcpherson.com. Happy to bring you this video today. It's a lesson taken from my web design for beginners course, which I'm building out right now, and you can get access to it completely free of charge for a limited time. Check out the video. Hope you enjoy it. If you've got any questions, leave comments in the comment section and I'll be happy to get back to you. And hopefully you sign up for the course. It's completely free, like I said, for the time being. In the meantime, enjoy the video and I'll speak to you soon. Hi, in this lesson, what I'm going to do is talk to you about how to install themes and plugins on your WordPress website. And I'm going to talk to you about my favorite theme and plugins that I install on pretty much all my websites, at least at a basic level. So you can actually understand what you need to have on there, and I'll explain what they're for as well and why you need to have them. All right, so themes, let's start with that first of all. WordPress comes with several free themes, and you get to your themes by going to Appearance and then clicking on Themes. And once that loads up, you'll see any themes that you have installed. You'll be able to see the one that's active. But before we jump into talking about these specific themes that are showing now, let's actually talk about what a theme actually is. So in my words, a theme is the layer on top of WordPress that allows you to give you a look and a certain feel for your website or the page layouts. So it gives you the options to customize where things are on your page and how the site header, which is the section at the top, in terms of where you have your menu and so on, as well as the footer and the sidebar, it gives you sort of a custom look that is associated with that particular theme. So it's basically almost like a skin or some sort of other design layout option, which basically every theme comes with their basic baked in styles and things that you need to customize the way your pages look. Now, WordPress comes with a bunch of free themes. In terms of WordPress themselves, they release one theme per year, and when you install WordPress, you'll already see whichever theme is the latest one that is installed on the site. So here I've got 2019 showing. This is we're now in 2020 at the time of recording this, but this is actually just left there because I did not want to have too many things on here. Now you'll see this plus icon here which says add new theme. So if you click on that, what that takes you to is a repository where you can actually see a lot of different free themes that you can actually install on your website, and you can go through and preview each one. So let's click on that one there, for example, and it will load up just a general idea of how your website would potentially look if you use that theme. So it comes with predetermined styling in terms of the headlines or the heading text, as well as the font they use for the body text. And it just gives you an idea of how things would look. And obviously you can see the header there. Now they have different options baked in, like I explained before. In terms of the header, they might have the logo positioning being just here on the left, for example, and some gives you multiple options or where things are laid out here. Sometimes the menu is actually in the bar, or sometimes it's below the bar, or you might have a transparent header option. It just depends on what's in the theme. So it's always a good idea to read the description of the theme and look at any demos that they have. Now they give you these demos that have the images already in them, but normally when you download the theme, you don't get the layouts like you see in the demos here. So you have to actually go in and add in your own images to make it look like the demo, and that can be pretty difficult if you have you don't have too much of a design background or know exactly what you're doing. And they don't necessarily give you the option to download the layout with the images and so on, so you can get a good feel for what the theme is going to look like on your thing once you've actually installed it on your WordPress website. That being said, anyway, with each theme, they come with pros and cons or restrictions, and mostly for the free ones that you get, they have some sort of limitations. They don't give you the maximum flexibility unless you have some sort of a coding understanding of how to go in and manipulate the code to change things to the way you want it. And the whole point of me doing this lesson is so that you can build out your website without having to know code, and just work with the options that's available to you to make your life easier. Now, I don't use a free theme on my websites. in fact, I invest in a premium theme called Divi, made by a company called Elegant Themes. And in order to get this, you have to obviously purchase it from, well, you purchase it from the Elegant Themes website, and then you can go ahead and download the files as a zip folder. And then what you'll do is go to add theme or add new just there, and you can go ahead and then hit upload theme, and you can browse for wherever the theme is on the folder is on your computer. And once you've uploaded it, you can install it and activate it, and then you have that theme running. Now I'm not going to do that because I already have it installed, so I'm just going to go back to the main themes page here and explain what you're looking at. So this is the theme installed, where it says Divi there, and you'll see next to it I have something called Divi Child. Now this is more of an advanced thing that I've done because I've added certain customizations, or I want the option to be able to add certain customizations without losing my work if the theme updates. Now this is not something that's mandatory. Absolutely, you don't need to have that, because if you're going to, well, it's only there as an option if you need to be able to add certain custom code, and we're not going to get into that. This is beyond the scope of this particular lesson right now. So at some stage I will show you how you can actually do a child theme and talk about more to do with that, so you can actually understand that part of it. So in terms of Divi, once it's installed, there's a menu item here inside your dashboard, and you can come in here and do some customizations by going to the theme options, and you have a whole bunch of things you can do in here to make the theme look well, function in a certain way, or have certain options available to you within the design areas when you go onto your pages. So I'm not going to go too deep into this. You can add in your social media icons, or links rather, or enable them from here. As you can see, you have certain options to do with the navigation here and how your menu will display in mobile and so on. And you have the updates section here, so you can, when you purchase it, you get your license key, so you put your username and your license key, and you can go ahead and then update automatically from the WordPress dashboard without having to download a new file and re-uploading it. So that's what that's there for. So now that you understand what the theme situation is, let's take a look at plugins. And you get to plugins by just going straight to plugins there in the menu list. And what plugins are, they are essentially extra pieces of software that you can add onto your website. So they're add-ons, and they give you functionality that you don't have out the box with WordPress, or they make things a bit easier to do certain things on your website. Even if the functionality might be already in WordPress, it might help you cut out a few steps and actually do things a bit quicker, or do things in an automated fashion, or just give you added functionality. So options that you could think about is for example, if you need to, let's say, have a shopping cart on your website. WordPress doesn't have a shopping cart built in, so you need to have some sort of a shopping cart plugin and checkout system added with multiple plugins potentially to give you the functionality that you need. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to talk about the key basic plugins that I feel that you should install on every single install of your website, at least when you're starting out. So I have a list here on my other screen, but I already have some of these plugins installed in here, so I'm going to walk you through some of them and what they are. Maybe I should just go through the list first. Let me just bring my list partially in view here. So as you'll be able to see here, I have first of all Smush. This is in no particular order, by the way. So Smush is a compression for images. It basically takes any images that you upload and it further compresses it, or you can set the settings that you reduce the quality of your images so they load faster. Now you should be editing your photos and compressing them before uploading them anyway, but what this does, it just gives you an extra layer in terms of automatically going in and making sure that they optimize the images as much as they can. It's not the end all be all. You should, like I said, upload already optimized images, but it's there to give you that extra bit of optimization. So that is important if you want your website to load fast. You don't want to go on a web page and have this massive, large image file that is heavy and weighing down the web page, and it takes a long time to load, and therefore people bounce. They just leave the web page basically because they cannot wait on the page to load, and it's because you might have one or more images that are too large for the site, whether dimensionally or it could be the actual file size in terms of how many megabytes or kilobytes the image itself has. You want to reduce that to as much as possible without losing obviously the quality of the image. Then the next thing we have here is Updraft Plus. Updraft Plus is a backup and restore plugin. So what you'll be able to do is install that and run backups manually or automatically on your website. And then what you can do is download those backups, or you can have them sent to a cloud storage, so that if anything was to happen with your website, if it crashes or if it gets hacked or anything like that, you can go back to a backup. You can re-upload your files and have it restored with this software here. Some hosts mostly nowadays provide you with automatic backups, but you do need some form of redundancy because it's not all the time that you'll be able to restore. Let's say something goes wrong with a host and you need to quickly move. You need to be able to have your own files that you can actually take your website to wherever you need to put it. Really simple SSL. First of all, let's talk about SSL. SSL is short for Secure Socket Layer, and what that is basically a security protocol or some sort of security layer that is on your website that protects the transfer of data back and forth between your website. Back in the day, this used to be necessary if you were going to do online transactions. So they would need you to have that on your website in order to protect the details, the card information, the personal details being passed through your website to go to a payment provider. And nowadays, though, you actually need that as standard on your website, and most hosts actually provide that for free. So all that needs for you to do is to request it from your host, and once they activate it, what you need to then do is have it set up on your website. And this plugin makes it really easy to set it up or to get it to kick it into action. Sometimes it doesn't necessarily do it automatically on WordPress and you have to go in. So really simple SSL helps you to do that. Security. iTheme Security is one of the many security plugins that's out there for WordPress. And WordPress is, just like any other software, is vulnerable to attacks and to malware and viruses. So it's a really good idea to have some layer of protection or some way of detecting any issues that's happening on your website with any breaches, so you can act fast so that it doesn't get any worse than it is. So if you were to get hacked or anything like that, this would potentially pick this up depending on the settings that you have going on. If you had any malware, or if anyone's trying to do a brute force attack where they're trying to guess your password, and they're not physically sitting there trying to guess your password, they're using automated systems, computerized systems to guess hundreds of passwords per second to figure out what your password is. And that's why it's important to really have secure passwords in this day and age. That's just one option. There's another one called WordFence. That is also pretty good. Now, the other thing is your website needs to send emails out for notifications or for other purposes at some point. By default, WordPress has a system built in for sending out emails, but it's not the best. It uses some sort of a PHP script or system. I don't really understand that fully myself. I don't need to, and you don't need to either. All you need to know is that WordPress sends out emails, and in order for it to send emails out efficiently or more reliably, you need to use some sort of SMTP plugin. And what this allows you to do is to, instead of using the WordPress default system, which doesn't always work out, if at all, you can connect a third-party email service to it. Now, if your hosting company provides emails to you, that's a great place to start. They will give you, once you've set up an email address that you want to use on your website, they will give you the information that you need to enter into an SMTP plugin. In this case, it's EasyWP SMTP. And there's another one also, let's see here, WP Mail SMTP. Now I go back and forth between the two. Sometimes I find that WP Mail is a little complicated to get working, and Easy, as the name suggests, Easy WP SMTP, I find is a little bit easier to set up. But then WP Mail SMTP has a few other options here that you might want to look at as well. The other plugin that I'm going to talk about is a forms plugin. Now, if you want to actually send out, have people go onto your website and submit a message by typing in a form or filling in a form, you need to have some sort of a form plugin. Now, Divi comes with a form plugin built in, or a form functionality built in to it as standard. However, I find that if I need more advanced features, WP Forms is a good place to start, and it is a bit more reliable in terms of getting it to work. Sometimes you have some clashes between plugins. I've had it where my Divi form wasn't sending emails because it conflicted with another plugin, and that's the thing when you're mixing and matching plugins. You need to make sure that they're compatible together. Now, I go through and select the ones that I know that work anytime I'm building a website. Obviously, if there's an update or anything like that that causes the code behind the scenes to not work well together, you need to kind of look at how to fix that or swap it out for another plugin. And that's really the reality of WordPress with an open marketplace. Not everyone's doing everything to work with each other. Happy Forms. Now, all of these plugins that I've talked to you about are free. Happy Forms have a premium option if you wanted to build even more advanced forms with conditional logic, which is something a bit more complicated. But you know, there's an option there for that as well if you wanted to get the paid version. Okay, so let me touch on adding plugins. Similar to adding themes, you can go to add new, and there's a repository which has thousands of free themes, or sorry, free plugins that you can actually use on your website. Anything that you want to be able to add to your website to give it functionality, there will be a plugin for it, because WordPress is so popular, and therefore there are lots of developers that are making different solutions, different types of plugins that you can get here. So they've got some tags here that you could click, but if you know what you're searching for example, if I wanted to search for Yoast, which I already have spelt it wrong here, didn't I? Oh, no, I spelt it right. Because I already have it installed, it's come up here first of all in the as the first result, and you can see it says active because I have it installed. But you can see all these other things that mention the word Yoast in it. That comes up, and if I wanted to install something, I just hit the install button there. I'm not going to do that. If I want to get more information, obviously click on that link that says more details. Excuse me, and you can go ahead and read what the plugin's about. You can check the reviews, and for me personally, I just use reputable plugins. It's not worth the headache to install random plugins that might not be designed or coded to the best standards, and you end up with problems with conflicts or just problems in general on your website that's due to the bad quality of the plugin. So I think it's always best to use premium quality plugins, or if it's a free plugin, look for ones that have a free level but they also have a premium version, which means that they have a way to, they're invested in a plugin, they have a way to actually make money from it. Therefore, they have a team behind it or some kind of support, and they're not going to just disappear. If you have a plugin installed from a free developer that's not maybe in it for the long haul, they might abandon the plugin, and if you rely on that plugin and you've built it into your website, you might end up not having updates coming out. If there's a security issue with WordPress and WordPress updates, and that plugin isn't updating along with WordPress, then you have an issue. You might have to now find an alternative, and it's disruptive to be able to do so. So that's my word of caution. if you go into the repository to install any plugins, make sure you go with reputable ones. And there are lots of really good free plugins. I use free plugins as much as I use paid plugins, but like I said, I look at the reviews, I look at the company to make sure that they have some sort of clout and they have some sort of longevity. And you can actually see how recent a plugin's been updated by the developer here. So this one's 3 weeks ago, for example. This one's 5 days ago. If you see something like a year ago or even more than 6 months ago, I would kind of think twice about that plugin. All of these on this first page here are relatively fresh in terms of updates. You can see the longest I've noticed is 4 months, which is not bad. This one says 6 months. Again, it depends on the plugin and it depends on the company behind it and so on. And you can research most of these companies. They have a website that you can check out. If I click into here, for example, and go back to the details, chances are, let's see if I can find it. The author has a link here that takes you through to a website. And here you go. This is actually made by Yoast themselves. I didn't read the details of it to see what it does. But it does something in addition to the main Yoast plugin. So you can also upload plugins manually. So Elegant Themes, the company that I said to you that makes Divi, if I go over to my account here, I can come in here and download not just the Divi theme, but they have a whole bunch of different plugins that I have with my membership account that I pay for with them. So they do things like opt-ins for email marketing and social media plugins and so on, or a social media plugin at least. And they have other themes as well. So I can go ahead and download a particular plugin and then manually upload it to the website just like I could for the theme. And the way you do that is by clicking upload plugin and you click on browse, and it takes you to your file browser, the Finder on the Mac, or if you are on Windows or another machine, it takes you to that native file browser and you can just select the file, upload it and install it. And that's pretty much how you would install a plugin. You search for whatever you want. Let's say I wanted to find something else. You can search by keyword apart from just the name. Let's look for a gallery plugin, and it's just going to show me anything that has is associated with gallery. So you have a few different photo galleries here, and you can scroll through and look at what fits the needs and what has good reviews. You can see how many active installs it has. 800,000, that's quite a lot. So therefore it's a popular plugin. You know that there's going to be some level of support in the user community. At least there might be some forum or some other place. Now, one of the big benefits of actually paying for plugins is that you get support from the developer. So you, as long as you have an active license key, you can then actually submit a ticket or email them and say, hey, I need some help, I have this issue, or can you help me figure out how to do this with the plugin, if that's something that they are supposed to do. And they'll be happy to help you because you're paying for that plugin and you're supporting them, you're keeping them in business. So it's always great to pay for plugins when you can, as opposed to using free alternatives, which you don't actually get priority support. And that being said, though, you have communities that you can jump into, forums, etc., that you can get access to people that will help you that are just users of the plugin or more advanced users, and they know exactly what you're going through because they've probably experienced the same problem. Now that I've gone through the list, let's see what's going on my screen here. So I've got, as you can see, easy WP SMTP, iTheme security, really simple SSL, updraft plus backups, and I've got the other SMTP one. I think I skipped over, or I didn't have it on the list there, SEO. So this is not mandatory, but it's recommended for you to have an SEO plugin that allows you to add SEO information into your pages. And what SEO is search engine optimization for short. And what that means is that when Google is checking your website, or any other search engine is checking your website, they'll be looking for certain cues. They'll be looking for certain bits of information that is formatted in a certain way to show your website in a search results page. Now, it doesn't mean that you will automatically be shown in a search result, because it takes a lot of time for you to have content created and so on for Google to actually pick you up above all the other websites that probably are within your niche or industry. What this is, it just help you to format pages and add a bit more information that Google will be looking for. That it's helpful to show things looking professionally in a search results page. So that's something to get into in another video. But for the time being, these are the things that I recommend. There are other SEO plugins as well. Yoast is one of the most popular ones. There's another one that we'll be looking into soon, and I'll most likely have a video on that. So once you've installed your plugins, as you can see that here, over time they will need updating. That means the developers, the people that make the plugins, will have new versions of the plugins, as in they'll add features or they'll add security updates. It's really important to understand what's been added and why you need to update, and do it safely by testing things and making sure you back up first of all. So before you do anything on your website, you should be backing up the website just in case anything was to go wrong and you update a plugin and it crashes the site or something goes wonky. You can actually restore from a backup. Now to update is really simple. You just click on update now. I'm not gonna need to test anything or back up anything here because I'm using a locally installed website. I'm not actually using my real website for this, so I'm not really bothered about if anything was to go wrong. So I'm gonna hit update there on all of these, and you'll see that they'll just start updating. And I've just done all 4 of these. If you were doing this on a real live website, you would need to actually maybe try one at a time and then check your website to just make sure everything's fine, and then go on to the next one and the next one and the next one. Same goes for the theme. Now Divi, sometimes they release a lot of updates because they always are adding new features, and that's really great about them because they give you a lot of functionality in terms of what you have access to and what you're capable, what the capability of the theme is. So sometimes it does clash with another plugin, or it breaks something, or or something of that nature. So it's always great to test on a development website, maybe do a staging site by having a copy of your website somewhere else that you can test on before you apply updates. And as you can see, we've already gone through, it does it one by one, and the last one is being updated here. I'm going to navigate away from this page here by going back to themes, and I'll show you. Actually, it's not letting me do that, so let's not leave that. Okay, now it's complete. We can go back to appearance. It didn't want me to leave that page. I suspect it would have interrupted the updates. So it's the same thing in here. You go ahead and update your main the theme that you have installed for the website, and that takes a few seconds and it will download the updates, and pretty much that's all you need to know about updating themes and plugins.